Have you ever felt overwhelmed with all that's going on in the world? Sometimes we don't realize that we can make a difference. My name is Debbie Van Grieken, and it is my hope to inspire you to take small steps towards social impact. Join us each week as we have conversations with those who have taken simple steps towards living a more sustainable and socially conscious lifestyle. If you want to make social impact, let's start small. The Small Steps podcast is proudly sponsored by Moya Shea Products. As a listener, enjoy 15% off your online purchase. Use code SMALLSTEPS15 at checkout. At Moya, we believe in people helping people. Supporting the local and global communities that help our organization succeed is very important to us. We apply a fair trade framework when purchasing raw materials, supporting farmers and families. Thinking global and acting local, Moya works with organizations to better the lives of children through education and fair trade. Are you looking for the best moisturizer for beautiful, healthy, glowing skin? Our Shea products are superb moisturizers and have exceptional healing properties for those suffering from skin issues. Check out these products and our wellness line at moyasheabutter.com. Welcome back to the Start Small podcast. I'm your host, Debbie Van Grieken, and today I'm happy to be sitting down with Cassandra Ciarallo. She launched Chic Made Consciously, a company offering repurposed, handmade, and fair trade accessories. As a social entrepreneur, her passion is to help those in less developed countries have access to fair wages, as well as empower consumers to wear a better story. She believes sustainability is a lifestyle choice where we have the power to make small incremental steps every day to create a better world. Hi, Cassandra. It's so great to have you with us today.
Thank you, Debbie. It's a pleasure to be here for sure.
So now you're in Toronto, Ontario. That's correct?
Yes.
And how long have you been in business?
I've been in business just over 5 years now.
Wow. And that's a big milestone. I'm coming up to my 5th anniversary this year too. So I know that's kind of like, if you can get to that 5 years, it was like, yay.
Here was my year 5, actually.
Okay.
So it was a pretty transformational year for me and for, I'm sure, many people listening.
Absolutely. So now, are you a bricks and mortar store or are you more of an online store?
Yeah, so we are currently fully online given COVID and everything. Never had a brick and mortar, doing all the kind of like local markets in the city and trade shows and stuff like that. So yeah, I love meeting people in person. I love connecting one-on-one. And so it was a huge shift last year when things changed. But yeah, luckily it's just been about improving the online presence. Yeah, the website that we have there right now.
You have a business degree and a love of fashion. And that's obviously, what kind of led you to creating this business. But I love hearing how people started their business. And I'd love for you to share how that kind of happened for you and why you chose a more of a, fair trade, slow fashion kind of business model?
Yeah, great question. A lot of people ask, like, how the heck did you start your business when I would meet them at shows? Because my product is so unique. We make recycled accessories in partnership with artisans around the world. So it's like, how the heck did you even start something like that? And I say it's been pretty unconventional. I didn't have this idea and then go seek it out. It actually happened through my travels in 2015 or 2014, actually. 2015 was when I started the business. I was traveling and backpacking in Southeast Asia, and I met an artisan collective in Bali, and they were taking tire waste and they were making it into these beautiful accessories, like all handcrafted, very intricate designs. And they were using the inner tubes of trucks, motorbike, scooters. And I was just super fascinated with their products. But I guess the idea of the project of finding this problem and creating a solution, which was making beautiful things out of the tire waste problem in Bali. And I actually got invited in and I spent the whole day making pieces with this artisan in his shop on the floor, crafting away with his tools. And it just changed my whole life, quite honestly, like that experience, I came home and I started to really reflect on the ways in which I never thought about the people behind anything that I bought, and sitting there seeing this little Indonesian man making these beautiful things. It was just like, wow, there's a human being behind everything that we buy. And it really like opened my eyes to that. And then in my engagement with him, I was really, really drawn to the products and the story, and seeing people come in and out of the shop buying things. I'm like, I had this light bulb moment of like, oh, I want to bring these products to Toronto. So yeah, we kept in touch for about 6 months after. And then I did a little test with a small collection. I ordered a bunch of different pieces and I found a pop-up market. I was like, how the heck am I going to sell these? And I found a little pop-up market. And yeah, that was kind of like the beginning of it, just testing what people's reactions were, if they were investing, if they liked the product. And yeah, and I had always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So this was kind of, I guess, just that moment that allowed me to take action on it. And yeah, it really was just the journey of that encounter and then flourishing into this business that is a slow fashion business. Like I, again, didn't really plan like this. I want to sell a sustainable product, but it was like that experience that allowed me to transform my relationship with fashion. And what I was doing at the time was shopping fast fashion all the time. And I'm sure many people listening have heard that term, where products are made very fast, cheap, and easy is like the quick definition for it. Right. But yeah, basically mass produced products that are at very low prices, that we see in traditional shopping malls. And I wanted to change my relationship with that. And in that transformation in myself, I was able to offer a product to other people that allowed them to invest in something better, in something that was handmade, fair trade, and repurposed. And so those are like the 3 pillars of products that we offer. And since 2015, I've also collaborated with other artisan collectives in Cambodia, in addition to Bali. And we have a brass line made from repurposed war remnants, which is a beautiful story. There's still between 4 and 6 million remnants of war on their land from the Khmer Rouge time, which is wild. We have a lot of that on our website, of the story and the artisans, and then line from textile waste. So it's all made from basically what's called dead stock fabric. So it's perfectly good fabric that large fashion brands are just tossing away, which are the ends of the rolls. So that's sourced by a female-led collective in Cambodia.
That's incredible. Yeah. I love that you made the connections. And I hear so many times when, especially women business owners, had a lot of their journey has been because they've traveled and they've witnessed something or experienced something, and it resonates with them, and they make those connections, those heart connections, and they come back wanting to make a difference. And I love that, because you talk about, fast fashion and quick, it's cheap, it's easy, but there's a human cost to that. And people need to be made aware of that. I know personally for me, a big turning point in my life when learning about fair trade and stuff too was when the garment factory in Bangladesh collapsed. There was 1,134 people that were killed. Owner clearly ignored warning signs, forced workers back to work the next day, even though there were cracks in the foundation. I really feel like, those defining moments, it helped to bring awareness, for one, to the world, but so much more needed to be done. And we're still finding not enough is being done yet for those conditions. But I love that you made that connection. You came home wanting to make a difference. And I love that you talk about, you want people to wear a better story. That is just, to me, I love it. You shared a little bit about the artisans behind the products. Maybe you can share a little bit about the stories about some of your favorite pieces in your collection that might resonate with some of our listeners.
The brass pieces, I just touched briefly, but going back to Cambodia, so I had traveled there on the same trip to Bali in 2014 and then went back years later and launched that line in 2018 and just reconnected with some amazing people in Cambodia. And I think what was so special about my experience there was that, they have so little and yet they're so happy with what they have. And, that shifted my perspective about constantly, the society we live in and always wanting more. And that relates to fashion, money, lots of different things. So there was that element, which I think just makes it so special to be working with people from Cambodia. And then when I connected with this collective, they're called Craftworks Cambodia, going into the middle of basically nowhere, like very, very far off. So they're all home-based workers in Cambodia, and went with this man from the team, and he was basically translating with me. And I got to meet 3 of the women who were part of this collective. And it was just so special, even to just be there and not understand what was going on, but them say like, this is really special that, you know, you guys are supporting us. And these were some of the things he had said in translation. You know, they went through so much. If for those of you listening who may not know much about the Khmer Rouge, but that was during the Pol Pot regime, and he basically wanted to eradicate every human being who was educated. So businessmen, lawyers, teachers, doctors, because they didn't want anybody to overthrow the government. You know, in learning all of that and visiting some historical places like the killing fields where they would basically massacre people, it's like you can feel that on their land, you know, and the fact that these people are still working towards making a difference in some way, working towards repurposing an item. So this whole collection is from essentially like spent bullets. And we have some videos on our website where you can see the bullets that they find are basically full of rust and dirt, and they like clean them all up, and then they're all melted down and then made into our whole collection that's made of brass. So these pieces are just so special because, and all of the pieces in our collection are, but these ones really embody such a powerful energy. And actually going back to the tire collection, what I learned from Pat, he's the artisan who started Art Cycle Bali, the collective that we work with. He taught me when I went to Bali in 2017, 2 years later, and I designed a collection with them. He taught me that everything is made with an energy. And that when we are supporting handmade and something is made handmade, the energy of love goes into that. And then, you know, that person who invests in that product gets to wear it. And that's the energy that they are putting on their body. So it's something to consider when we look at, okay, you know, I'm just buying this really cute top, but it's only $10 or $15. You know, there's an energy that went behind the making of that. And if the artist or worker behind it was paid only a few cents, you know, they are an artist, but we don't maybe consider them an artist. Yeah, they're only paid a few cents to make it. Like, what energy is going into that? And then we're wearing.
Yeah, I 100% believe that. And yeah, I've had similar experiences myself in traveling throughout Africa, and, you know, some of the, you know, Joseph Kony revolution, and a lot of our farmers are former child soldiers and now rebuilding their lives. And you can see the pride that they're taken in rebuilding their lives and finding dignified work and being paid fairly, and what a difference that can make in a community. And you can see and feel that energy in the products that you get. I believe that 100%.
Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, you know firsthand as well what that means.
You mentioned, you talked a little bit about designing the products with the artisan. Do you have some collaboration there with the designs? Are you helping to create the designs, or is it mostly artisan led?
Yeah, great question. So I started with everything being artisan led. So I was importing the pieces that every artisan from Bali was making and designing. And then in 2017, when I went back, I did design a collection with them while I was there. So it was like taking inspiration from a lot of the Balinese art. They are very much connected to the earth and the elements like air, water, fire, and just being in a Hindu part of the country while the rest of the country is Muslim in Indonesia. Bali is the only Hindu island. It is so fascinating. Like, the energy there is powerful. They are waking up at sunrise every morning, praying to the gods. There's just so much appreciation for all the beings, you know, and it was just such a beautiful energy. So that really went into the design of the collection. And that was a really special collection. And since 2017, I have still some of those products left. I have not designed another tire collection, but everything from the brass collection I have designed. So everything online there. And then the textile collection I also designed, but this eternal scarf that we have, when you're listening, you won't be able to see, but you can see it on the website.
On the website.
It's the mesh scarf that we have. That is kind of a play on a piece that they already had. So we kind of worked with an existing design. So, I mean, yeah, as I continued to grow and evolve, I wanted to have more say in the design component, because that's kind of, I think, my collaboration with them.
Yeah, and I think it's so important because I've seen with other brands, although it's like we really want to preserve the traditional craftsmanship of the pieces and we really want to respect, the cultural aspect. I think it's important to work with the artisans to get pieces that are relevant to people in our buying circles of what they want as well. I've seen, in other brands where it's beautiful, but it's not something people would want to wear. It's just not like kind of fitting in with what they want to wear here. So just having that combination of, working together to tweak the designs to make sure that it's still going to be something that people want to purchase.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's really well said, because in the beginning too, it was like noticing what people were saying about certain pieces. So then I was like, okay, especially in Toronto, people really like the classic, simplicity, like minimalistic design and fashion. And a lot of the pieces I have, I mean, in general, our pieces are quite bold, but yeah, I allowed for that space to come in and have a bit more of those elements in the design, because they were very, like you say, when you say traditional craftsmanship, the designs were really Balinese.
Yeah.
They had a lot to them.
Yeah.
And while people admired and appreciated them, they didn't always want to wear them.
Yeah, so I find that with clothing, especially like accessories, you could get away with a little bit more boldness, right? But with some of the fashions and the patterns and stuff, I know I have, working with artisans in Africa, and their fabrics are so beautiful and so bold, and I just absolutely love them. But then if I was to bring those certain patterns into clothing here, it may not necessarily translate well to my buying audience, right? Like, well, I don't really think I would wear that, or if it was maybe less this color, or if the style is slightly different. So it's important to really know our customer as well, right? Now, a lot of your pieces are made with repurposed materials, upcycled. Share a little bit about that and why it's important to you.
I mean, this element of the brand was super important to me. I think from the beginning, what drew me in was really the fact that these pieces were recycled. They were made from recycled tires. And the more that I started to learn about the fast fashion industry and how much we throw away and how much the average consumer buys, we're consuming 60% more than we were just 15 years ago.
Yeah.
The average consumer in Ontario buys 81 pounds of clothes every year. Wow. So I'm talking clothes, but still relates to just the fashion world and accessories when we're saying that.
That's a huge number. That's shocking.
Absolutely. And 95% of what we throw away often can be recycled,
right,
but is not being repurposed or recycled. So, this shift, and again, thinking about how I was consuming and thinking about the things that I would normally clean out my closet and what do I do with the rest of the stuff, so, or just thinking differently about, can I reuse this and have it for longer? Learning a lot about the industry itself just made me more and more passionate about the repurposing element, because I think we're using so many virgin resources to make new products to influence us to buy things that we don't need in those quantities, right? We need a lot less than we are told that we need. And I think that we live in a culture that tells us that we need more and more to be happy. And especially now with COVID, a lot of people are looking back, tuning inwards, slowing down, realizing that they want to support local and they want to invest better, but also at the same time that we don't need as much stuff. Right. So I think that when we are shopping, it's about really thinking, how can I invest my dollars into something that is doing good? And for us, it really meant that idea of transforming what would be in the waste stream and giving it a new life instead of, creating new.
Right. You know, there's a lot of greenwashing that goes on in the
Mhm.
fashion industry. So a lot of larger corporations like to try to make it appear as though they're being more sustainable, when in reality, we know corporations are mostly the largest polluters of the industry. How can consumers really educate themselves and know which businesses to support and which ones not to? What have you kind of learned through this journey of what to look for on the labels, or how to research a company, or what questions to ask, those kinds of things?
It's pretty simple. Quite honestly, what it takes is a bit of work on the consumer's part. If you want to invest better, you have to invest some time. And so I get that a lot of people don't want to invest the time or don't have the time. So what we normally do is we just take the convenient and easy route, which is go to the shopping mall and buy from larger corporation or bigger brand. First off, I would highly encourage you to just go to the company's website and spend some time browsing their website. See if they have a sustainability tab. See if they have anything that shares about their workers, the people behind their brand, what are they making and what is it made from? So I know that it's like the more information you have, the more questions arise.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, well, what does it even mean if it's made from this fabric or that fabric? So there's definitely going to be greenwashing. But if a brand is saying like, that they're fair trade, but there's nothing on their website that shares much about any of their workers. I've seen this time and time again. A brand says, we pay our workers fair wages, blah, 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 blah. And on their website, there's nothing about the artisans or where they're manufactured or this and that. So it's very simple. You just have to take a little bit of time and do the research.
Mhm.
So I would say step one is doing that. And step two, I would highly encourage you to check out Good on You. And this is specifically for fashion brands. It's an app on your phone. It is also a website, and they have a brand directory. So you could literally search any brand, like go on there and type in H&M or Zara, or these are like bigger fashion brands that are coming to my mind, but anybody to me, we're on there. And they basically give a rating out of 5, and it's based on people, planet, and animals. And they'll tell you why they gave the rating. Yeah, so we have a good rating, and there's like from we avoid, I think that's the worst.
Right.
We avoid to great. So I would say avoid the ones that they say
that they say
to avoid, but they'll tell you why too. It's great to just, again, educate yourself about what brands might be saying they're doing things, and then they're not really fully showing up. There's a bit more information on there, and that's kind of a rating system that will help you make a decision for you. Right. And then there's so many amazing brands on there. If you want to familiarize yourself with eco-conscious, sustainable brands, you can just get to know some new brands, maybe check them out there and start following them on Instagram. And yeah, it's a great way to just open your mind about it's not only one way, and it's not just these big brands and saying, I don't know where to shop. Yeah, I mean, it is harder to shop sustainably because it's not as accessible and as convenient.
Right.
But I think if you take that 15 minutes, and do a bit of the legwork or the heart work, because it means that you're actually going to then invest in something that is so meaningful, and you're going to love it so much more when you do. And I can guarantee that.
You touch on a really great point that sometimes sustainability is not accessible. And it's so true, because I'm a mother of 5. I've had, times where the kids were growing through their clothes faster than I could even keep up.
Oh my gosh. I can imagine with 5 kids.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And so, you have to, a lot of moms out there are having to deal with price as being a huge factor. So, we've talked on many of our episodes about thrifting. I know myself raised my boys to really value thrifting. I love that they get so excited about going to the thrift shop and grabbing stuff. They're all men now and they don't care. They still go to the thrift shop and grab, clothes. And, oh, look at the deal I got, Mom. And and it's great. But I think it's really important that we talk about making it a bit more accessible for people. So I know personally myself, and I'd love your input on some suggestions for people out there. I found in building a wardrobe for myself that I would spend my budget on, maybe it might only get me one or two really good fair trade pieces that were, well made, good quality, and then I maybe thrift the rest of it. So I can take those pieces and, interchange them with different pieces to build the wardrobe. What kind of advice can you give for people to build an ethical wardrobe that will still be in style next season? You're the fashion guru. So how can we take those pieces and make sure that we're keeping a good look throughout the whole year and then into the next season?
First of all, I do not believe in seasonal trends. I know that there are things that the media claim is in and out of fashion style, but fashion to me is just self-expression.
Right.
You can wear whatever you want, whenever you want. And that is what slow fashion means. It means that when you're investing in things that align with your values, that look and feel great on you, you can wear them whenever you want.
Right.
And nobody should dictate when you can or can't wear it. That's number one. So to everybody listening, wear whatever you want.
So basically you're saying you can wear white after Labor Day.
Absolutely.
This has been a rule I grew up with, that I was always told you can't wear those white pants after Labor Day.
So funny. Yeah. I think I wore that. I like totally threw that rule out the window a long time ago. And people would always be like, why are you wearing those white pants? And I'm like, I can wear whatever I want.
That's right.
I really just think, again, fashion is about feeling confident too, right? It's about feeling and expressing, like I said, how we want to feel and how we want to show up. So it's about what makes you feel good. If you're going to feel bad about wearing those pants after Labor Day and you're constantly going to be questioning whether or not you're going to be looked at or judged by other people, don't wear the pants, like wear what makes you feel good. That's what's important here. And I say you can wear it anytime because that's what I believe. But really, it's about wear what makes you feel good. Now, in building a closet of your values, that is going to take time. That doesn't mean you're going to go and splurge in one season on things that, if you only have $100 budget, let's say, to spend one season, or however much your budget is, you have to make it work. So I love the idea of what you said, splitting it up between thrifting and investing in maybe one or two things that you can invest in right now. Because when we look at products that are sustainable, anything sustainable is a higher price point.
Right.
Why? Because there's the cost of people and planet that's gone into it. That is a cost that is not taken into account when we're buying something that is made through exploitive practices, whatever that may be. If we're thinking about fast fashion, a $10 item doesn't take the planet or people into account.
Right.
When you look at fashion, what I like to allow people to consider is the cost per wear. So if you invest in something that's, $60, let's say, on a top versus $10 or $20, you're going to have that top likely 5 years longer, let's just say.
Right.
I would say something that you're investing $60 in is going to last you at least 5 years. Longer, probably, if you take good care of it. Now, if you broke down that $60 price to every time you wore it and the length of time that you actually owned it for, it's actually way cheaper to own that garment and invest in that versus the $10 or $20 item that's probably only going to last you like a year, maybe that, because you're washing it and often they fray and often they're already like, losing the stitching or something. You can just tell that the quality is a lot poorer. So yeah, I would allow you to just expand the idea that it actually in the long run is something much cheaper for you. And somebody said this to me recently, and it's the best thing I ever heard. I am not rich enough to buy cheap things, because when we buy cheap things, we have to keep buying them over and over again because they break so quickly. So yeah, you can go to, and I'm just going to say the first thing that came to my mind, which was like the dollar store. And, we go there and we buy things, but you can go to the dollar store and buy like a cheaply made item or pen or whatever, or you can invest a little bit more on something that's well made and quality and going to last you actually maybe 10 times as long.
I love that saying. That
stay tuned for when that's coming on our social channels, because we're talking about it for content today, and I'm just like, this is the best thing ever. And yeah, it's shifting our awareness, because we think that it's so much cheaper to buy fast fashion and it's so much more affordable to get that $10 item, when it's not. So I can tell you that for the last 5 years, since I started on this journey, I've been shifting my habit, and our behaviors change in slow and progressive increments. Again, you're not going to just go and change your whole wardrobe and change the way that you buy everything all at once. It's going to be small little steps along your journey. So don't be so hard on yourself, and know that it takes time to build a new wardrobe. And, you know, I look at my wardrobe now and I'm like, holy, like I love everything in my closet, and everything has a story, whether I got it at this really cool market and this amazing woman, you know, she made it like this and she used this special thing to make it. Or, oh my gosh, I have this vintage jacket from a garage sale that I walked down the street and found. Like, it's just about reframing how we shop and what we want to be investing in. Yeah, so I would say mix it up. A lot of my clothes actually right now are from clothing swaps. So that's been a fun thing I do with my friends. And I would encourage anybody listening, you know, maybe we can't do it at the capacity that we used to be able to with COVID, but we used to like host things at my last place with like people coming in and out and dropping by. We'd have like 20 or so people come by in the night and bring like bags of clothes.
Yeah, it's so great. I mentioned back in one of my earlier episodes about that was how I started getting involved in the community with fair trade and promoting awareness around that, was doing clothing swaps and organizing fashion shows with repurposed, upcycled clothing. And we would get the thrift shops involved, and we would have the high school students picking out all their outfits to wear on the runway. And it was just, you know, really, I think, helped to bring awareness to the community too of that, and the stigma about going to thrift shops. That was really important, especially in a small community where I'm from, that, you know, to be utilizing the thrift shops and stuff. So it was really good. And I love what you're saying about starting small. To do this all overnight, it takes time, and you take one step at a time. So it's wonderful.
Yeah. One step at a time. And as you know, buy something new, maybe you can get rid of something old that you don't want in your closet anymore, and really thinking about where it's going after, you know, like don't dump anything. Or I would advise everybody listening not to ever throw any textile in the garbage. Never, ever do that. Even if it's just a little scrap, you can actually donate everything. Places like Value Village take even the small scraps, and all of that is used. They work with third-party corporations or companies that actually take those pieces and they recycle them into like car seats and different, you know, mats and stuff like that. Yeah, so awesome. just be mindful about textile is like any fabric. So any piece of clothing or fabric, don't put it in the garbage, and just think about how you can donate it. Donation bins around the city, the same thing. You can put any even small pieces and scraps in there.
Yeah, and get to know your local crafters too, because a lot of them will take those pieces as well and make things out of them. I know some local crafters who make like little toys and like little stuffed toys and like those heating bags and stuff for kids, and they just use scrap material and stuff.
I love that.
Yeah. Now, I heard this saying, and I'm not sure if it's the right number or not, but it's something that I've always kind of thought about, is when you're looking for a new piece of clothing, they say if you pick it up and you can't think of 30 times that you're going to wear it, then don't buy it. I think that really resonated with me on a couple of instances, because I'll be shopping for an occasion. You know, my son got married, another son is getting married this year, and I've been looking, you know, at dresses to wear to the wedding, and I'm thinking, well, I'm not going to wear this again. So it's something that it makes me take pause and say, okay, wait, maybe there's a better way that I can do this. Maybe I can borrow a friend's dress, or maybe I get something that's a little bit more versatile that I can change it up so that when I'm finished wearing it this way, I can slightly alter it to make it this or whatever, right? So just taking pause and, giving those ideas some time to ferment and say, is this really a good purchase for me? Am I going to get the wear out of it or not?
Yeah, I love that. Was it Emma Watson who came out with the 30 wares, or it was like somebody pretty influential?
It probably was her. I love her.
Yeah,
Probably I do
yeah.
follow her, so it probably was Emma.
One of the sustainable icons that really just allowed, again, it's like these little things that allow us to shift our perspective in relationship to how we buy. So that's a beautiful thing, right? When we can ask ourselves, Livia Firth, I think it was her.
Oh, okay.
If I'm wrong, everybody, you can comment on this
we'll look it up.
podcast.
We'll look it up. We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah. But the idea of looking at something and being like, am I going to wear this at least 30 times? Is a beautiful thing to ask yourself, because I think on average we wear something only 1 to 2 times before we actually throw it out or get rid of it, Right. So if you look at your wardrobe and how much you're actually wearing on an everyday basis, it's only between 20 to 30% of everything. And that's even for myself, but I made this challenge for myself last year that I would wake up and put something new on every day. And I swear it was just like the most invigorating, because especially during now and COVID, changing your outfit or changing your outlook for your everyday. And that's just like, again, back to the energy behind everything that we do. It just helps us transform our energy and how we show up and how excited we are to do our work or tackle the day or whatever it is. And it's just like the small thing and just what we are wearing for the day.
During COVID, for me, it was like changing my pajamas. Like I would change out of my day pajamas into my night pajamas. And it just made me feel like a new human.
I love that. I love that so much. I mean, the truth is we want to be in our cozies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I know. I'm in like cozy stretch pants right now.
Yeah. Oh, I am totally as well. So tell me, what is your vision now? You've got 5 years plus into this business. You are, surviving through this pandemic. Shopping is changing. Retail is changing. I think we're seeing, new things come out of this pandemic. What's the vision you have for your business, and how do you want to move forward?
To be honest, I would just encourage everybody to follow me at Chic Made Consciously, because there's a lot of really big transitions and pivots that I've had in my business that will probably be announced in the next little while. And I'm not going to be too open about everything yet. So I'm just going to leave everybody in suspense. Yeah, there's been a lot happening like internally. I think COVID allowed everybody to just rethink how they're living, operating, buying, spending their time, and I just got a lot of clarity on things for myself and for my business. And it was a really tough year financially. And I wasn't able to invest in any of the new product lines that I wanted to. And yeah, even moving into this year, I'm just taking it into some new, like there's definitely an expansion happening, but it's definitely a bit different than I'm sure people might expect. So
it's needed. Like you said, this has been a time when we have had to reflect, and we have had to say what's working, what's not, what can we sustain going forward, what are consumers, our customers looking for, what can they handle. So yeah, I think in this next coming year, I think we're going to see a lot of businesses do even more pivots to what they already had to do in 2020, but I'm hoping that they're all positive for you and that everything pans out exactly the way you want it to.
Thank you. I'm in basically the testing phase for some new things. So I would just, encourage everybody to keep following us, and you'll see when new things kind of emerge.
And we are going to put all of your information in our show notes. But is there the best place for people to connect with you? Is that Instagram or?
Yeah, Instagram. I'm always on Instagram at Chic Made Consciously. You can send me a DM if you have any questions or any comments or just
And people can
want
sign
to
up for a newsletter, I assume.
You can sign up for the newsletter on our website, which is www.chicmadeconsciously.com or chic, CHICM as in made, C as in consciously.com. And yeah, you can get 15% off your first online order. And if you follow us on our Instagram page, I'm always doing a bunch of different fun pop-up shops. So if you want to follow along, and I do different like style sessions and showcase our products, I would love to invite you to our page.
That's amazing. I've loved following the account. That's where I found you, was on Instagram. Yeah. So I encourage all of our listeners to check it out, and we're wishing you all the best. I really hope that this is an amazing year for you and that your business is doing fabulously for the next 5, 10, 15 years to come. So hope you enjoy the journey as well. I know that as an entrepreneur myself, coming into my 5th year, I'm tired. And so I hope that you can get some new energy as you make some of these pivots and changes and help to grow your business. So thanks so much for taking the time and talking with us today. We've really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Debbie. It's been super fun. And thank you to everybody listening. And I hope to stay connected. Talk to you later.
Bye. Thanks so much.
Thank you for listening to Start Small. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and found a small step you can take today. Make sure you share it with a friend. And if you have not done so yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you are enjoying this podcast, consider taking a moment and leaving us an honest review in your Apple podcasting app so more people can be inspired to take small steps towards social impact.